Hi guys, so I'm going to be talking on the webcam or the video for my discussion. I want to start with addressing what normal is deemed as, and I feel like normal is something that is preconceived by the society that we are in today. I feel like normal is assumed to be what the world sees the average person like. And that can be from riding a bike to swimming, like as discussed in Sue Osteen's TED Talk. It's assumed to be being able to speak full sentences or eat your entire plate of food. Normal is deemed from regular experiences that are conceived from people in our society. I would like to challenge the idea of normalcy. So I think for me that my definition of normal isn't necessarily the correct one. I feel like what the world conceives normal to be is something that needs to be redefined. Because when it comes to generalizing what normal is, it's hard to discuss as a person with other with unlike-minded individuals, because a lot of people are very insensitive to the idea of people with special needs. And who's to say that as a person that so and so with special needs isn't deemed normal? This is something that's bothered me actually for a very long time, and I've always been a firm believer in what is normal. Like, who defines it? What is it? Like, who are you to tell me that so-and-so isn't normal or blank activity isn't normal? Because people are always coming up with their general ideas of what they believe the world to be. And it's not always supposed to be conceived that way. At least I don't think it is. So let's touch upon some of the questions. So, ways I've reproduced normalcy in my actions. So in my classroom, I am a lead preschool teacher. And in my classroom in particular, I have two children with special needs. I have one mildly autistic child and I have another autistic child. Let's focus on Nikki for a minute. Nikki is the mildly autistic child. Nikki likes to do everything else that every normal person likes to do. He likes to play in the sandbox. He likes to get on the slide. He likes to learn his numbers. He likes to read with us. He likes to paint. And just because he has this cognitive development that was premature, which has caused him to have the things that he has now, what so to say is how is what he does any different than what any other child does? And in my teachings, I am always adamant about making sure that there's always something for every single child to do. Touching upon all the interest of every child. Sometimes there's days where, I'm gonna name kids in my class, that Amelia might not want to read books on the carpet. Well, there's not just books on the carpet. There's Play-Doh on the table. There's art projects to do. There's a sensory bin for them to develop their fine motor skills with. It's touching upon every single student in every single way. And I understand that as like they get older in grade school and in secondary, that it becomes a little bit harder to touch on everything, and it's okay to not do it every single time. I personally believe that it's okay to not do it every single time as long as you're fluctuant. But normalcy starts in the classroom. Like, what we deem as normal starts in the classroom, because every student has their own vision and own preconceived notion of what normal is. And for them, like Nikki, for example, he has his own normal. I have my own normal. You have your own normal. My parents have their own normal. Normal is what is defined as yourself. And a lot of people who don't agree with things that don't tend upon their liking, they conceive normal to be what they want it to be. And normal really is just what you are and what I am. Moving on. Normal, how is the word used and for what? So normal, actually, the way that people use the word normal has always been something that's frustrated me as well, because we deem normal, like I said, as things that are regularly done or practiced in the world. And a lot of people, I'd like to transition into this thought that people who view normal a certain way, in a very biased and unopen-minded way, when in like a room or in relations with someone who has special needs, they don't understand the effect of like words that they say. So I actually find it very interesting when people take this for example. I was listening to the radio a few weeks ago, and the radio station that I was listening to, they said the autistic girl. And that preconceived notion of that autistic girl could be deemed totally different if you're saying there's this girl and she happens to be autistic. And the world doesn't necessarily think about those situations where what you say has a definite effect on what is conceived and what should actually be described as. The society in general, I feel like does a weak job with being particular on what is said and how things are said. And it's important to understand that the way that words are used can affect people in emotional ways. Moving on. Who benefits from normal? Well, who benefits from normalcy? The general public benefits on normalcy because our society is kind of set up to benefit towards the people who our society is set up for success a lot of the times for general people. And we don't have, I feel like we don't have many things that we do for people that need accommodations. I feel like the people who benefit from normalcy are the people who can ride a bike, and the people who can eat all their food, and the people who can speak and hear. And it's just, our society is set up to benefit those people and not the people that need accommodations. And I feel like our society is too afraid or unwilling to address these issues. I'd like to finish my discussion on how I would challenge normalcy in my classroom. I, in particular, would and will always make sure that I am touching the needs of all of my students. I feel like that is the most important thing in the classroom. We should be always addressing and always checking and always adjusting and always bending and minding to the things that our students need. And we can challenge normalcy by explaining to the students that there's not just one definition of normal, and that everybody has their own normal, and everyone has this, and everyone has their own needs, and it's okay to have your own needs. It's okay to be different than your peers. And I feel like that would be the best way to challenge it, because we have to educate on what these things are. We have to educate on the fact that everyone is different. And as long as we do that in our classroom and make it consistent, then I feel like our students won't think of the world as the way that the general person does. Thank you.